I want to give you some decluttering tips that are going to make a huge difference right now and will not feel painful. It sounds too good to be true, but it is not. These will take a little bit of effort and have major impact. First up, it's the fridge free up. Try saying that 10 times fast. Actually don't, because you're going to embarrass yourself. That's why I didn't do it either. But the fridge free up is all about treating your fridge like a temporary facility and not a long-term storage facility. You shouldn't have anything that's, let's call it perishable, in your fridge for longer than a week. I'm talking like meat products or leftovers or produce. I mean, sometimes you can stretch the life of your produce a bit. I'm talking more like the broccoli that's been there for 4 weeks and starting to get fuzzy. That doesn't belong in the fridge. Sauces, condiments, that kind of stuff, that makes sense to be in there longer term, but even still, you wanna check that and see, is this expired? Is there enough in here for me to make a meaningful meal out of it, or is it time to move on? Every time you do a grocery shop, for us, that's about once a week, we go through the fridge just very quickly. We pluck out anything that no longer needs to be there so that we free up space and we're not storing inedible stuff. This one's called the sock drawer drain. Pretty self-explanatory. Set a few minutes aside and pick through all of your socks. Do your socks have holes in them? Well, guess what? If they do, you shouldn't be wearing them anymore. Put them in the pile for textile disposal. How about those single socks? You know, the ones that can never quite find a partner, like that weird aunt of yours? Yes, that sock needs to go as well. If it's single, it is not ready to mingle. Just get rid of it. And if you have socks that you're not going to wear anymore for whatever reason, you don't like the way they look, they're too thick, too thin, you're Goldilocks, no problem, move on. That way you have socks in your drawer that you can quickly pick out, you love to wear, and will be functional. Have you ever looked around your house and seen how many little packets you have? I'm talking silica gel packets, packets of ketchup, packets of chopsticks, packets of little things that make their way into your house, buttons, string, just random weird little packets. Why are they there? Why are you keeping them? So the next time you have a few minutes and you need a decluttering project, do a packet pack up. Just go around, say your kitchen, your bedroom, wherever it is, and pick out all of those crazy packets that are taking up tiny amounts of real estate that add up in aggregate, and basically you're just living in a house full of packets. All right, get rid of them, you don't need them, and do yourself a favor. The next time you order takeout or find those little packets with buttons or whatever, just throw them out immediately. Or if you have a storage solution for them, like say a little container where you keep buttons, put it in there ASAP. Don't let the packets build up. This one I'm calling the swag send-off, and I can't even say it with a straight face because it's so ridiculous. It feels like anywhere you go, they're giving you a bag of swag, and it's full of stuff that you're definitely not interested in. I mean, listen, every now and then, a notebook is nice, a pen is nice, but I don't need 25 of them. I don't need another stainless steel water bottle. Like, please, promotional companies, just take it out of the catalog. We're good. So go through your house and look for the swag. The stuff that you know you're just keeping because you got it for free, but you don't necessarily need it. Like, why is it here? It's here because it's convenient. Go through, pick that stuff out, make a box, and drop it off at a donation location. Whether it's at a charity shop or a place that you know someone could use the stuff that you no longer need, whatever it is, just say bye to the swag. And do yourself a favor. I do this when I go to events. I look through the swag bag, and if there's something I want, I will take the swag. Like, we were at a YouTube event, and the swag was Crocs and YouTube Jibbits. Of course I'm gonna take that. But if I go to an event and they're like, here's another stainless steel water bottle, I will just happenstance lose it or leave it at the event because I don't need another one. Box up those boxes. Now, Chad keeps a lot of boxes. He buys a jar of pickles, it comes in a box, he keeps the box. I don't know why. And if you're someone that keeps a lot of boxes, I really want you to question this habit. Unless there is a very specific reason that you need to keep the box, don't keep it. You don't need it. Just get rid of it. And the same thing goes for shipping boxes as well. Like if you have an Amazon order and it comes in and you've got the box, break down the box, put it in the disposal location, whether it's in your garage or if you live in a building and there's a place to get rid of them. Don't let the boxes pile up. They take up air. They just take up space. They have nothing in them. They stack. They are so big and they just hog real estate.
I've never bought boxed pickles.
Everyone needs an MMS in their life. You know what that is? That is a mail management system, because we get mail pretty much every day and we need a solution to stay on top of it, because if we're not, it stacks up, piles up, and can make a mess of our house. Now, we also have some magazine subscriptions. I will admit, we sometimes let those magazines hang around for too long. So if you're someone that gets magazines or newspapers, what I suggest is see, is this magazine a current one? If it is from 6 months ago, it's time to move on. We all know what a junk drawer is, but I think it's actually a misnomer. We should have utility drawers, not junk drawers. If you think about the law of attraction, if you've ever read The Secret or seen that movie back in the 90s, you'll know that what we say and state out loud attracts the very thing. So if we have a junk drawer, it's just a magnet for junk. But if we call it a utility drawer, then it means that purposeful, important, meaningful, and necessary things will end up things that are useful or offer utility in some way, shape, or form. When we moved into this house a couple of years ago, this was a utility drawer. And this is the thing with utility/junk drawers. They need regular maintenance. So if we're not taking care of them on a regular basis, you're gonna see that they start to fill up with things that you don't need, or things that you do need. You just forget that you put them there. Or things that you don't need, like a deck of playing cards that was sent to you as a promotional item that you thought, maybe I'll hold on to this, just in case there's ever a time where I'm really bored, there's nothing to do for an extended period of time, like I can't go out and see my friends, like I need to find something interesting to do with my husband. So you keep the deck of playing cards, yet it's still in the package. So the thing with junk drawers is if we're not staying on top of them and we call them junk drawers, that is precisely what's going to end up happening. It's just a waste station for the garbage. But if we actually treat this as a purposeful and important space in our home, we will fill it with the things that we need in the area in which it exists. So if I think about my kitchen or the main floor of my home, there are certain and definite things that I need readily accessible. So we're going to go through mine today. We're going to talk about what's in here. We're going to prune it out, and we're going to figure out together what's important and necessary for this area in my home and set up the drawer to be just that. Then we'll sort through the other things and decide what we keep, toss, and donate, or where we relocate these otherwise homeless or lost soul items. There you go. Okay, so now that the drawer is clean and everything is out, the next step is to categorize. What you do is you start looking at the items that you have in front of you. You put them all into logical categories. Obviously, if I have 9 different types of fire starting materials, logically, I don't need all of them right here in my utility drawer. We're good. I'm not ashamed about anything that's in this drawer. I think everything that's here, well, aside from a couple of things, is useful to have in this sort of kitchen, laundry room, garage area where we're opening packages and tying things up, fastening things. The issue quite clearly with my junk drawer is that there's just too much of the same thing here. Now, of course, certain things provide certain functions. For example, I always go to this drawer to grab gift wrapping tape, but we also need painter's tape if we have to tape window coverings, clothes for filming, packing tape for whenever we have to pack up boxes and do returns. All of this tape makes sense, but there are multiple, so I'm gonna relocate some of the tape. The same thing goes for cleaning tools. We don't need 3 of these. Keys, we have a different place for keys in our home, so I guess these just got chucked in here. Band-Aids, I don't mind keeping a few of them in the kitchen for obvious reasons. So even though it's not the prettiest, I think it makes sense here. If anybody's celebrating their 92nd birthday, feel free to come to our house. We have enough candles for you in our junk drawer. We actually have a little area in our basement with wrapping paper and birthday stuff, so I think those are gonna get relocated. What's laughable is the amount of lighters and matches that we have up here. 10. Don't need that. Scissors, we have the cat's nail clippers, which makes sense. We have a box cutter, and then we have regular scissors. There are 2 pairs here. I'm gonna put the black pair, which is not my favorite pair, in the basement. The blue pair I really like, so we'll keep that here. The measuring tape makes perfect sense. These are great to have for emergency purposes. Elastic bands, I like to have a few on hand. I think this is too many, so I'll probably end up getting rid of those. We have a full drawer for drinking accessories, so I don't know why this was misplaced, but it is going where it belongs. Celebratory items for Valentine's Day and Hanukkah. We will have to find another location for these, or we will have to end up getting rid of them. I'm not a fan of all of these little plastic toys, and I hate when they end up in my junk drawer, so that's another reason why it's great to go through this stuff on a regular basis and say no to as much as you can. I do say no to a lot, but sometimes things make it into your home and you have no control over it. And then of course cords, you know, we have these as spares. We do have cords around the house for various charging needs. I don't know why these are in the junk drawer. It doesn't make any sense to me. They will go in an office where they belong. This is the kind of stuff like flour, food, and gum. I'm just gonna put it on Chad's desk and let him deal with it. The same thing goes for these dowels and other, what do you even call this? Or this? Whatever these things are for, I'm also gonna put those on Chad's desk because I feel like he knows where that stuff belongs. That's not my wheelhouse. Okay, I've just given you the full psychological breakdown of my junk drawer. So now we're gonna slim it down, put everything back, and move forward. So in the pile of organized chaos over here, I know where things are going to be relocated, and I know what I'm not keeping. There's some stuff that we just no longer need in the house, so as soon as this video is over, that's what I'm going to do, sort this stuff out. And then we have a much more sane, organized, and easily accessible space over here with stuff that I actually need and use and has purpose in this area. Ergo, it can retake the name of utility drawer and lose the name of junk drawer. This was a pretty easy thing to do, took just minutes, and it makes a huge difference. The thing I experience, and I know so many people experience when it comes to decluttering or the thought of decluttering, is this visceral gut reaction of stress and overwhelm because it feels like, where do I start? Oh my gosh, this is gonna take me forever. And what I have found that works for me is to really reel that in and say, okay, what is the most important area that I need to tackle? Can I tackle that one first? And I feel like once we spend time and determine what our most important areas are, or in Clean My Space lingo, what we call MIAs, you know, most important areas, it really gives us a path or a road that we can take to decluttering. So we can say, I don't have to do it all at once. Rather, my bedroom is really important, but my dining room, I don't care about so much. So once you kind of have this carved out, then you have a starting point and you can sort of work your way down your list of most important areas and totally not worry about areas that don't matter to you, at least not now. Of course, your MIAs will change from time to time. So when I think about my current MIA or most important area to declutter, it's my office, and I'll tell you why. I renovated my office space over the past year and a half, and in order to get some of this renovation done, I had to tuck things away. Books, office stuff, like all kinds of items just went into this one built-in unit that I have. And honestly, I haven't opened those drawers in a long time because I just have not wanted to look. So for me, if I'm really honest, that is my MIA, and that this spring is where I need to focus my efforts. And that brings me to a common question, which is, what is your most important area, the one area that really stresses you out, the one area that you know you need to declutter and perhaps you've been avoiding, at least for this spring? So let me know what that space is for you in the comments down below. Once you've made the decision that you're going to declutter an area, that's great. But when is it going to happen? And this brings us back to the famous adage, what gets scheduled gets done. The way that I do this is I time block things in my phone. So I know if I have to get anything done, whether it's make a phone call or go to a bank or pick something up, I put it in my phone. And I do the exact same thing when it comes to these cleaning or decluttering tasks that I don't necessarily care to do. But if they're in my calendar, they do get done. And if for whatever reason I can't get to it that particular day, I can at least shift it to another day. So it's there, it's present, and I know it has to be dealt with. So if you're scheduling things in, or if you're struggling with scheduling things in, just even put 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes in your calendar to at least get started. What I've also noticed has happened for me in the past is when I've scheduled something in for, say, 30 minutes, I really get into it and I'm doing well and I'm really into whatever I'm listening to and I'm just in a zone, and then I'm not going to disrupt myself. So schedule something in and maybe give yourself a little bit of a buffer just in case you really do get into that zone. If I had to pick like the most fun thing in this 5-step plan, I would say this is it. And it's all about visualizing what you want your space to look like. The reason I think this is fun is because really it requires the least amount of work and I'm lazy, so this one's good for me. But really the goal of this particular step is for you to see your room as it is in all of its glory. And then imagine what you want it to look like. So whether you can see that in your mind's eye, whether you have to go online or Instagram or Pinterest and just see pictures of organized spaces that feel good to you, that you sort of want to use as an inspirational cue, or even if you want to take it a step further, go real technical and create some sort of a planogram like the way a retail store is planned. So you kind of know, here I want this, here I want this, I only want this stuff on this shelf or this stuff in this cupboard. The more specific you can get, the easier it's going to be for you to know what your space needs to look like by the time you're done. And I actually think a planogram is a great way to go because it shows you exactly how much space you have available for certain things and where those things need to go, what the home is for the items that you have. It will also help you further declutter because if for whatever reason you find you have a few random items, you might realize that once you've put your planogram together or once you've visualized your space, those items don't actually make sense in this room anymore. And that can be a very helpful step when it comes to parting ways with items that we don't need anymore. This is the stumbling block, so I just want to make sure that you are mentally and emotionally prepared for what we're about to do. And this comes down to being able to effectively question the items that you have in your space. So you've picked your MIA, you've blocked out the time, you've visualized your space, and now we've got to get down to action. You actually have to look at the items and decide, do I need this? Do I love this? Do I want this? Does it make sense in my space anymore? Was it here for a reason, a season, a lifetime? You got to go through all of that stuff and you have to be lightning fast. I always say, kind of jokingly, kind of not, that you have to be like a psychopath when you do this. No emotion, because emotion makes us hold on to things. If we feel guilty that we spent too much money on something and we don't want to get rid of it, or because Aunt Gladys gave it to us for our wedding and what would she think if we got rid of it? We can't have these emotions. Emotions are what make us hold on to things we don't need. So ask yourself the right questions, ask them quickly, remove your emotions, and make your decisions. If it serves a purpose in your space and it looks beautiful and it makes you feel good, hang on to it. If it serves a purpose in your space and it's ugly, keep it, but at least hide it. The goal here is we want our rooms to look beautiful and inspiring, but also be useful and purposeful at the same time, and spaces where we don't have to dig through a million things to find what we actually need. Most of the hard work is done, but the final step is to take action. Now, keep in mind, you've got to be good to yourself. There are going to be some emotional roadblocks that come up. You might really battle it out in your mind, like, I need this, I'm gonna keep it, or, oh, I just can't get rid of this one particular thing. There's some sort of emotional draw to it, but really, really press yourself to get over that hump and make the decision. And then once you've made the decision, figure out what you're going to do to move on from it. Are you gonna sell it online? Are you going to donate it? Does it just belong in the garbage? Figure out what you have to do to safely and effectively dispose of that item. And always keep in mind what the highest and best use for that item is. Do your very best to keep it out of the landfill. And let this be a reminder to you that when you do accept things into your new home, whether it's a gift or something that you've purchased or a free sample, whatever the case may be really mindful about it. Where's it gonna go? Does it fit into my planogram? Will I have to get rid of this in 6 months? This has really helped me be very much more mature when it comes to my buying decisions and things I'm willing to accept. Even as someone in a influencer position, we get emails a lot about, oh, does Melissa want this thing? Oh, can I send you this? And we say no to so much of it because at the end of the day, it's just clutter that builds up in my home, even though it's cool and it's free, and I'll have to get rid of it eventually. Now that leads me to this week's comment question, which is, we are in a new year, and I'd love to know in the comments down below, what is your 2024 decluttering goal? Is there something that you have been saying, I am gonna deal with this, and 2024 is your year? Let me know. Or if there's something that you're overwhelmed with and you need a little bit of encouragement, we wanna hear about it. So drop the aspirational or the actual in the comments down below. For me, what am I decluttering this year? I got to go through my office. I'm going to do that in 2024. It's built up some things over time, and the time has come. I got to deal with the office. So that's what I'll be doing, but let me know yours down below. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.